Well, once again, wonders never ceases to amaze us. And I didn't ask Brother Jason what he was going to be talking about. Trusted him that he was going to deliver the right message. And I think that when we look at 2014, when Dr. Brown was talking about functional unity, and I think Brother Jason tonight just tied all that in, and they gave us a lot of food for thought. Because what we continue to do every day is take a whole lot for granted. We take each other for granted. We take others for granted in that respect, whether it's family, friends, or whatever have you. And we try to do for self. And for the most part, self has got us where we are today, because we're not listening. And I want to sincerely thank Brother Jason for that psalm message. Because contrary to what a lot of people might think, yeah, you might think it's easy to be on the front line because maybe you might see Brother Jason, or you might have seen Brother Adi for all the years, sir, and Derek and now me. But we have feelings, just like any normal human being. And we have family and we have friends. And when we are identified as, troublemakers, or cold, as Brother Jason said, and he drew a classic example. Because I don't go up on the web pages and read all them nasty remarks. You know why? No matter what we do as leaders, whether it's good or bad, from their point of view, it's never going to be enough. That's why if we live for their 30%, we won't go anywhere. We live for the majority, which is the 65 to 70%. Because no matter what you do, that 30%, you're going to never change that mind. And I wish you luck to say, well, I'm going to focus on the 30. Because when you start focusing on the 30, you're going to alienate the 70%. Now you got a bigger problem. So when you talk about providing leadership, yeah, from time to time, you got to stand up and be counted. And there are many people that are prepared to stand up and be counted as leaders. But when we do, we need your support. So it's my job to also, thank the hotel and a few other things. But before I get there, I just want to touch on just one or two things that Brother Jason mentioned. And in particular, the airport, because that's near and dear to all of us heart. Because contrary to what the country might think, and I don't know how the country gave the Minister of Finance a pass, because that's what we did. We gave him a pass. He sat in front of national television and said, I don't know what the numbers are, and I'm signing on the dotted line. Anywhere else, he'd have probably been fired. Only in Bermuda, you can have a Minister of Finance saying, I don't know what that's going to cost. And nothing happens. And the interesting part about it is that he has the people that he's working with who have done many projects all around the world. So what makes Bermuda so different? We're very, very sure Bermuda's another world, yeah, but we're also in the world. So what makes us so special that nobody knows what this price is? Let me tell you why they don't want to tell you the price. Because the price is going up. Remember now, it started at 200 million. And it also started at 30 years. Now they're at 250 million. And they're at 35 years. So it's going to be my guess that when we hear the next shout, it's going to probably be either 275 to 300 million. And it's probably going to go up to 40 years. That's why the minister don't want to give us the number bombers that's calling us. Calls Mr. Bradshaw a number bomber. I guess it's referring to David Burt, the shadow minister. It's probably referring to Brother Jason, and it's referring to me, but that's okay. It is what it is. And it is very unfortunate, and this is going to probably be part one of Monday. This will be part one of Monday. Because what I find interesting is that I'm trying to, give the minister his due as the minister of this country. To say that, well, I really didn't know what CCC and ACON was doing. I weren't a part of that. So I'm saying, yeah, okay, let's say he didn't know what they were doing. But how do you call a press conference, invite them to Bermuda, have them say what they need to say to try to justify the opposition, and now you're going along like everything is rosy? I would have thought they'd have said, the Minister of Finance should say, I'll tell you what, this is not what we're about. We didn't buy in for this thing about cover, this thing about, the mere fact that you're pretending to be somebody else, the mere fact you're planting questions in meetings and all this kind of stuff. The ABA sold the country on being transparent. You sold the country on accountability. How you now selling the country for, something that you say, you're accusing, Brother Jason of defamatory remarks made on the Let's Talk program on May 11th. But yet it's okay for Steve Nacon, who's the president of Acorn Concessions, to say that this is the way we do business. That's not my statement, that's his statement. He's saying this is the way we do business. We use words like cover, and we do these sort of things like plant questions and all that kind of stuff to get the result we're looking for. And the Bermudian people and the Bermudian government is going to business with these guys. And we're okay with that? Well, you might be okay with it, but I'm certainly not. And I think a lot of our people are not. Because the government is trying to put a wool over our eyes in respect to this project. And we better wake up and pay attention, because as Brother Jason said, the shepherd is trying to lead his flock. But we can't go anywhere because you're sleeping. So it's very important for us to, and we're not just, these are facts. I'm not just making these things up, these are facts. And contrary to what the government says about people putting misinformation out there, the information that we're speaking about is factual. Factual. But they'll lead you to believe that, who goes to combine opposition again. They can call us all the kinds of names in the world, but, our credibility don't mean anything. But as soon as they think that one of us has made some defamatory comments against the minister, he wants to put Brother Jason in court. But guess what? We'll be with him to the end. And yeah, I saw Minister Fay's press conference yesterday, or read his press statement. And no, we haven't said anything about it. And I said to Sister Laverne, no, I'll make my comments on Monday to Michael Fay. Because contrary to what Michael Fay thinks, is that this is not about him. It's about the people in this country. It's not about him. And it's certainly time for us to sit down and have a real conversation. So let me just conclude my part, which is to give the vote of thanks to everybody else also. So allow me to first of all thank the Fairmont Southampton management and staff for this evening. I'd also like to thank our Master of Ceremonies, Brother Andre Rochester. And let me just say this to you, right? Things are supposed to get better, not worse. And I'm speaking to Brother Andre now because last year, he brought in the Blues Beat Band and he gave us this nice version of Satchmo. And then we come back in 2015 and it's like we're going a step backwards. So I'm just trying to give him a little lift up for next year in 2016. Thank you, Brother Andre. To our General Secretary, Sister Helene Molly Burgess, for her warm introduction. To Brother Anthony Seaman, the Vice President of the Public Works or Works and Energy Division of the BIU, for the opening prayer. Also want to thank Ms. Phaedra Howes once again for the program this evening, and of course all the information in the program was done by Sister Laverne Furbert. I'd also like to thank Brother Airport, the General Secretary of BPSU, for sitting at the hill table with us this evening. I think Brother Andre has already done it. I recognize the Banquet Committee. Once again, another outstanding job. Recognizing that, anytime we do 400, I think Sister Ronnie told me, as I said to you a little earlier, we've done about 418 people last year in 2014 when Dr. Brown was there. And tonight we had sold 500 banquet tickets. So they came, and I trust that what you heard from Brother Jason, you weren't disappointed. And all I would say is that I think it's very important that when we have a young, up-and-coming leader like Brother Jason, who is extremely bright, and they know that. Trust me, they know that he is bright. And I'll share just a quick story with you, because I also want to thank the Bermuda Union of Teachers, because about 2 or 3 months ago, we had a little session over at Devonshire WAC. And we had the unions participated in it. And we had a gentleman there who's used to work in the media, in media relations. And we have to pay close attention to when they're really attacking your union leaders. Because trust me, this is all by design. It's all by design. You heard Brother Jason say the way how they changed the word here or changed the word there. They know exactly what they're doing. That's why the union, BIU, has always been out there for 20, 30 plus years now. The media is no friend of labor. Respectfully, we say that. And we're talking about mainly the printed media or whatever have you. And we have to be very careful about that. How they turn our members against us. You can't trust them. The reason why the PLP lost the election in 2012 is because you all believe that Dr. Brown and all the rest walked off $800 million. And that's a fact. I'm not telling you you can disagree if you like, but I'm telling you it's a fact. Because when I sit in front of my members and they say, well, what about the money that the PLP took? What money are you talking about? Now, remember now, the same OBA government that's in power now was the UBP back then. The same individuals were also accusing the PLP of taking money, or being corrupt. I didn't see whether it was Dr. Brown or Paula Cox or Derek Burgess take out, a writ or sue, Bob Richards or a member of the OBA or the UBP for defamation of character. You didn't see all that take place. So why all of a sudden in 2015 all this stuff is going on? We better pay attention, This is all about trying to destroy the trade union movement. So, if I continue on, I think we, like I said, already mentioned the Banquet Committee. I also want to thank, once again, the Banquet is going to be aired on Channel 82. I'm not sure when, but, Brother Lamar Woods is here. And it probably will be aired in the next maybe week or two. So, and I think he'll also be selling DVDs. I'm not sure what the price is going to be, but we certainly will be able to get that price once you call the union. And if you want to get a copy of it, we certainly will make sure we can get you a copy of that. So I certainly want to thank Mr. Woods and Mr. Glenn Blakeney once again for arranging to be here tonight to tape the banquet and being able to view it on Channel 82. We also have a special treat, and the special treat is that on September the 2nd this year, which was Wednesday, we had a pre-Labor Day golf tournament. And I really don't know how all this happened, but and I say it happened in the respect that we organized the golf tournament, and you always think about how you can improve things. So I was home on Tuesday night, and I said, you know what, it might be nice to have Brother Lemire come up to the golf course on Wednesday and film some of the players, and being able to, when he shares it on 82, feature some of the players and the golfers that day in the hills that they were playing on. So I thought he must have changed his mind, because by the time he came to meet my team, we were probably had maybe 3 more holes to go. I think we was on hole number 15. You know, we teed off in a shotgun start, and I just thinking, well, he probably changed his mind. Anyway, here comes Kim Swan with Lemon in the golf cart. He said, well, I've been looking for you guys. I said, well, you're fine. He says, look, we have already interviewed Brother Derek. I says, yeah, he had some things to say to us. And you know Derek and his golf game, because you heard Dr. Brown talk about his golf. And then he tells me that he interviewed the opposition leader. I said, okay. And then he proceeded to tell me about Mark being 13. And I'm saying to myself, that's the exact same things Mark said to me before we left the clubhouse to go tee off. And Mark told him that, he said, look, tell Chris to him, we're going to be the winning team, so just bring the trophy on Friday night and give it to me Friday night at the banquet. And I'm saying, like, well, hold on a second there. We got 19 teams, only 18 showed up, but that's okay. I'm saying, like, y'all saying you're better than these other 17 teams. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, make a long story short, congratulations to Paradise Game, Mark and his team, who won. The BIU's pre-Labor Day golf tournament on Wednesday. Now, we're hoping to make this an annual event, and, you know, with the support of our social partners and everybody, we're going to try to do exactly that. So, once again, Mark, congratulations to you and your team. The trophy, I think I gave you your prizes and all that on Wednesday, and maybe going forward, if we're going to have a trophy or some kind of plaque, look forward to seeing you in action and see if you can win that. The BIU's members credit union, I spoke to Mr. Davis earlier this afternoon before I left the credit union, and you might say, well, what does God do with the price of potatoes? It's got a lot. You heard what Brother Jason just said. It's time for us to support our own financial institutions. And see, one of the challenges that they have with the BUT, the BPSU, and the BIU is that, you know, and this is meant as no disrespect to the other unions or whatever have you, but, you know, when you acquire city property, you start getting people's attention. So the BPSU has their building. The BUT bought a building, you know, several years ago. And the BIU's got 7 city properties. And the mere fact that we had that, it's of concern to them. So we have a credit union that's 60 plus years old, and trust me, your money is safe. It's no different than if you put it in our Bank of Butterfield. Because a few years ago, when the Bank of Butterfield needed the government to bail them out of $200 million, what do you thought was going on? Huh? So, the mere fact that the credit union right now is over $10 million in assets. Mr. Davis wanted me to make that announcement. And I certainly want to thank the management staff, the credit union board, and certainly the members, the BPSU members, the BUT members, the BIU members, and all other members of the credit union for making that growth possible. Thank you. Finally, I think I mentioned that Brother Furbert done an outstanding job, I think, in presenting, making this presentation this evening. But I want to highlight 3 things in closing. The three things that I want to highlight. Oh, yes. I missed that. I went by that. Yes. Certainly want to thank Brother Daniel Furbert. Actually, you know, see, and you're right on point because that's the page I turned to. Thank Brother Daniel Furbert for that introduction of Brother Jason. And, you know, my sister Ronnie said to me, she says, what about what about asking Brother Daniel to introduce Brother Jason? I said, that's a good idea. And the corporation team was actually in the BIU boardroom. So I left Sister Runner's office and walked right into the boardroom, and I said to Brother Daniel, in front of his couple other brothers who was with him, I says, we would like for you to introduce the guest speaker at the banquet. And you know what? He didn't hesitate. He said, Brother Chris, it'll be an honor for me to do that. And he accepted the invitation just like that. So thank you, Brother Daniel. And I think, as Brother Jason said, I think you've done a first-class job. So thank you again. I said I want to touch on, and also thank the entertainers for this evening. The Onion Patch Group and Sister Rakisha Beans. Round of applause, please. And Francine Rollins. Another round of applause, please. Now, because Brother Jason touched on so many things, the three things that I highlighted was basically towards the end. And that was that the OBA is ruling with iron fists. The shepherd cannot lead the sheep who are asleep. And the media is playing mind games with us. And that, to me, are three very important. We have to just take one step at a time. Because too many times, you ever try to take 3 steps at a time? What do you think is going to happen to you? They're going to fall down, right? True. So we take one step at a time, one day at a time, and then do what we need to do to fix it. So all I would say to you before today, there's nothing we could do about yesterday. It's gone. There's nothing we could do about today now, because this is also history. What we can do from tomorrow forward is a whole lot. We take one day at a time from tomorrow forward, because I can tell you that if you weren't thinking about coming to the Labor Day March on Monday, I am suggesting that you come. Because as we said, and I do apologize because we haven't said it tonight, no disrespect to the PLP party or the opposition right now for Monday. No disrespect about them not being able to speak on Monday. The reason for that, and you got to know, we have a strategy. And the strategy is working. The strategy is working because we decided not to invite the UAB government tonight, because let's just be clear. If you haven't seen the banquet from last year on Channel 82, you need to take a look at it. Let me tell you why. Because the premier of the country spoke on camera after the banquet and said, I disagree with Dr. Brown, but I agree with the president of the BIU. Oh, you do? So, I called last year for us to come together, which meant the UBA, the PLP, the unions, and the employers to come together. And everybody, I got some flack for that because people thought I threw the UBA lifeline. Well, I guess they missed it because they never caught it. Because contrary to what a lot of people think about trade unions, I'm not saying we get it, we're not perfect. We might get it wrong here and there. But the mere fact, the UBA government had that retreat up at Elbow Beach last year, October. And I made it crystal clear to the Permanent Secretary of Home Affairs, Randy Rochester. I'm going to call his name for you. I said, I don't see the PLP invited to this function. And I want to know why. Contacted the minister, came back. I said, I got news for you. The BIU will not attend the retreat unless the PLP is invited. I ain't got no time for nobody who's going to sugarcoat, just be truthful. Randy Rochester saw my predecessor, Brother Derek Burgess, and proceeded to tell him the reason why he weren't invited, or what happened with the invitation. Just tell the truth. Just tell the truth and you'll be fine. So they end up inviting the PLP. I think Brother Mark came by, opposition leader. Shadow Minister came by, David Brett, and Brother Derek came. But only because we insisted that unless the PLP is invited, which includes all the social partners, we're not going to be in attendance. Now, you want all of a sudden Minister Faye saying that, in this press statement that they've been working, in dialogue and honest dialogue, and they'll come to the table with clean hands. They don't know what clean hands means. So what I'm telling you, that's part of part one. So come to part two on Monday, and you'll be much surprised. So we want the trade union leaders on Monday, to take the LBA government apart on Monday. The PLP has got the other 364 days out here to do what they want to do with the LBA. All I'm asking for one day, let us have them, and then we'll be okay.